Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. Today we're diving into something that, well, it seems incredibly simple on the surface, right? But it actually tells a massive, absolutely fascinating story. We're talking about the Great American Hot Dog. We're going to trace exactly how a basic sausage and a soft bun evolved into some of the most diverse and, frankly, fiercely protected regional masterpieces all across America. Let's get right into it. So when you hear the words American hot dog, your mind probably jumps straight to a few specific places. Baseball games, backyard cookouts, maybe bustling street carts under summer fireworks. It's like a slice of Americana. But here's the thing. The hot dog didn't just become popular in a vacuum. These everyday cultural touchstones really helped elevate what was a very basic meal into an absolute American icon. Which brings us to a really huge question. And honestly, it's one that can actually start a bit of a friendly argument depending on what city you're standing in. What exactly makes the perfect hot dog? And why on earth do we so fiercely debate the toppings? Well, we're going to find out. All right, starting off with Section 1, the cultural foundation. Okay, so to really understand the toppings, we actually have to start with the meat itself. The all-beef hot dog became hugely popular in cities that had large immigrant communities, mostly because they strongly preferred beef over pork. And this fundamental choice, it literally changed everything. It gave the dog a notably firmer bite and a much richer, stronger flavor profile. And that's absolutely crucial, because that stronger taste is exactly what you need to stand up to the heavy, complex toppings we're about to explore.
Moving right along to Section 2, the big city classics.
First up on the heavyweight list, we've got the iconic New York hot dog. This city's tradition relies entirely on that all-beef frank we just talked about, but it was the street vendors all throughout the city who popularized a very specific, totally traditional combination to go with it. Spicy brown mustard and a cooked onion sauce. It's a brilliant pairing. It brings both sweetness and tang to the party. It's beautifully simple, but man, it is entirely unforgettable. Then, on the flip side, you have the Chicago dog. Now, what's wild about this one is the sheer volume of ingredients. They start with a poppy seed bun and a beef dog, and then they completely, and I mean completely load it up. You've got mustard, onions, this incredibly bright green relish, tomato slices, a whole pickle spear, sport peppers, and a sprinkle of celery salt. The whole shebang. Where New York went for cooked simplicity, Chicago created an absolute feast of crunchy textures and vibrant raw garden flavors, all in a single bite. But hey, there is one strict, basically unbreakable rule with the Chicago dog. No ketchup. No way. Seriously, don't even ask for it. The locals are fiercely proud of this omission. They'll tell you that the bright green relish and the tomatoes are strictly in charge of bringing all those sweet and tangy notes. Ketchup is just not invited. So this brilliantly illustrates the striking culinary contrast between these two amazing cities. On one hand, you have New York, heavily leaning on cooked, tangy simplicity. And then, contrasting that completely, you have Chicago, a vibrant, textural feast that relies on a literal garden of raw toppings without hard line drawn against ketchup. It's the exact same foundation, but an entirely different cultural execution. Pretty cool, right? All right, let's head into Section 3, Hearty Diner Evolutions. So, stepping away from the street carts, our first diner evolution is the heavily loaded chili dog. Instead of bright vegetables or sweet onion sauces, this style essentially buries the dog under a massive, generous serving of rich, meat-based chili. Depending on the region you're in, you might find it topped off with cheese, onions, or a squirt of mustard. This style just exploded in popularity inside diners and roadside restaurants. Why? Because it successfully transformed what was just a light, handheld snack into a much more filling, super comforting, sit-down meal for hungry travelers. And then we have the fascinating Coney Dog. Now here's a fun fact for you. Despite its name strongly suggesting a direct connection to Coney Island over in New York, this variation actually developed into a beloved regional specialty halfway across the country, right in the Midwest. Because these two heavier dogs often get confused, we definitely need to separate them out. While a chili dog relies on hearty, thick meat-based chili that was born from those roadside diners, the Coney dog uses a very specific savory meat sauce paired with diced onions and mustard. The Coney dog is deeply tied to the Midwest, where different cities actually fiercely protect their own secret local recipes for that savory sauce. So they are both heavier meals, for sure, but they bring very distinct flavor profiles and completely different regional footprints to the table. Which brings us to our final stop, Section 4, a bite of culture. Ultimately, what makes the American hot dog so important isn't just the sausage itself, but the rich culture wrapped around it. Whether it's an immigrant community establishing a strong all-beef foundation, a city street vendor feeding millions with a simple cooked onion sauce, or a Midwest diner crafting a top-secret savory meat sauce, these distinct regional recipes act like a culinary map of our history. So, I want to leave you with a final thought for today's explainer. Take a second and think about your own hometown. What do your local food variations say about your community's history? Next time you grab a quick bite, look a little closer at the ingredients. You might just be tasting a piece of living history. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Keep asking questions, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.